Ambassador Ji, if we were to shift focus to the unfortunate Galwan incident that took place last year, what are some of the very important geopolitical insights that Indians can draw from that incident?
Well, let me put it to you this way for those who are familiar with what happened in Galwan, that we have a certain arrangement. We had it with Pakistan in Kargil, we had it with China in Ladakh, in this area. And we had this informal arrangement that we'd patrol these areas, you patrol that area, the same thing which happened in Kargil. What happened then was that we found them surreptitiously trying to grab our territory. People say that China has a policy of salami slicing. Well, we have a policy of bacon busting. They tried to come in by stealth, by deception, talking sweet words, but then they intruded on our territory. They were not prepared for what faced them. We sent a patrol party there led by the colonel of the battalion, the commanding officer, to tell them that you better dismantle the structures that you have created because this is part of our agreement. They said yes. We found that a few days later, they had not. So we went back. And again, we were led by the colonel. We were carrying weapons. We didn't use them because that is the protocol. When we went and said, why haven't you done it? China, which is supposed to be a several $trillion economy, they had imported clubs which had barbed wire wrapped around them. They're going back to the Stone Age, these fellows, and they claim to be an ultra-modern power. And they started beating our fellows with that. You don't do that to the Indian Army. For those of you who understand the ethos of the Indian Army, they hit the colonel of the battalion. And when you do that, the colonel is the father of his soldiers. Then there was no way we could stop them. Our soldiers just absolutely retaliated with vengeance. We snapped the necks of the Chinese. We lost 20 of our brave sons in that confrontation. We gave them state funerals, national funerals. We honored them. The Chinese for 8 months didn't even accept their casualties. What a country! So that the parents of the Chinese soldiers who died couldn't pray for their souls. They were not even told that their sons had been killed. Ultimately, they said 4. Well, 4 people died, but we saw 41 helicopter flights taking your casualties. The figure that is internationally accepted is around 100. Having been taught a lesson, what did they do? They quickly changed all their commanders, etc., etc. That doesn't work. One thing which is important, we hit back militarily. We hit back economically. We've hit back culturally. Several Chinese apps were banned. Imports from China are expected to halve by the next 1 or 2 years. Yes, it's not going to be easy to decouple with China because once you've been in bed with someone for 30 years, not just India, the whole world, the divorce doesn't take place in 24 hours. It's going to be a messy process, but it has started. No one trusts China. And we have seen now what is happening. They talk of their grand Belt and Road Initiative. Actually, it's a bilk and rob initiative. They want to bilk and rob every country. And then they have the CPEC, the China-Pakistan economic corridor. And people talk about that also. In reality, that is deader than a dodo. The dodo was that 16th century bird found in Mauritius that just went away because it was so dumb, as people say. So you have this expression that China's leader, Ping Pong, is dumber than a dodo, which he is indeed. So what we are seeing today is that the world is coming together to break the world's dependence on one factory of the world, which was China. India would never do this. China has done it with rare earths in the past, denied it to several countries, including the United States and Japan. In fact, I believe Japan took them to the World Trade Organization on more than one occasion. The World Trade Organization ruled against them and said, no, you have to supply this. Chinese said, oh, we are doing it to protect the environment. Oh, sorry, we are doing it to keep it for ourselves. Oh, sorry, we are doing it to control prices. These guys are crazy. They lie through their teeth and they expect the world to believe them. So I believe that the Galwan incident had an unintended repercussion, which is it showed the world the determination and the strength of India. Why unintended repercussion? I would urge you to read, he was my professor in the United States, Robert Merton, famous American sociologist. He propagated or he really popularized the law of unintended consequences. You take a purposive action and it may have an unintended consequence. Ma'am, if I have a moment, let me give you an example. When the nation's capital shifted from Kolkata to Delhi in 1911, in the area where I live in the nation's capital, one of the most highly protected near the central part of Delhi, there were a lot of snakes. And so the British government, the then British government said, look, everybody who kills a snake and brings it to us is going to get 2 rupees or 3 rupees, a lot of money at that time. So suddenly a huge number of dead snakes started showing up. It is one way to control the snake population. Till the British government realized that people were rearing snakes in their backyards to kill them and sell them to the authorities for the money. So they promptly banned that practice, the government. What do you think the people who had been raising the snakes, what did they do? They released the snakes into the streets. So therefore, instead of going down, the population actually came up. This is the law of unintended consequences. The Chinese did not anticipate that when they unleashed their virus on the world, the whole world would get together to oppose them. They talk of socialism with Chinese characteristics. They talk of development with Chinese characteristics. They never talk of truth with Chinese characteristics, which basically means no truth at all.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.